your bed is fascism. Making your bed is fascistic.
What Walter Benjamin is that?
It was my theory. That was my Adorno moment of the stream.
Yeah. All right, welcome to our nightly Cosmo stream. The verge of war with Venezuela, but has looked like the past 2 months. So who knows? Tonight, latest in Russia and Ukraine's long war. It looks there might be progress on the negotiations, but that could also be absolutely meaningless, as it always kind of seems to be the case with these things. And right now, Witkoff is meeting with the Ukrainian delegation in Alaska. So at Venezuela and what's going on with the increased escalation. What is the U.S. strategy? What is Trump's game plan here? What locations? And then I'd like to talk a bit about discourse from Trump about mass immigration. And I believe a lot of this was response in D.C. on Thanksgiving. Trump has been increasingly upping his rhetoric on about the question of mass immigration. So topic will end our stream tonight discussing. I think it's been a bit to talk about Russia and Ukraine. And it's not really something we love to talk about, I don't think. Kind of depressing, and there's really no one to cheer for that can possibly come out of it.
I mean, they've just mincemeated like a whole generation of Ukrainian youth.
Yeah.
Just a nightmare.
It's incredibly depressing. It's really hard to say what position will have to even be. You have some people in the left who say that we should support Russia. You have some who say we should support Ukraine. All of us here would probably just say we should take a neutral regards to the war. But I mean,
yeah, in some absolute moral sense, but we have the political imperative of criticizing our ruling class's complicity in starting this war and then sustaining it. So, yeah, in some absolute moral sense, there's no quote unquote good side, but we have that political imperative to be critical of our own ruling class's role in it. That's our priority.
Right.
It doesn't really do much to.
Yeah.
It doesn't really do much to do Putler, fucking rants. Although, let's be clear, Putin has been just. I mean, his role in the Middle East, his role in he's just despicable. He's really just fucking despicable.
Yeah,
he's disgusting. His cover for Israel.
There's no not fans of Putin.
It's really not. I mean,
streams. But Ukraine nationalism has also been a problem in this war, and it's when you wait that Ukrainians are being gang to fight in this war against their will.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really hard for me to
If I've heard just of horrendous reports of there's basically just a mafia dedicated to you have to pay the mafia to not get sent to the front line. And apparently there have even been cases where people refuse to pay and there's horrendous retaliation. Some guest on Radio Warner reported that some guy got crucified for not wanting to for not wanting to get extorted. So yeah, it's the Ukrainian war effort is just a bunch of mafiosos just putting the Ukrainian working class youth through the meat grinder.
It's also not working because apparently they're still getting manpower shortages. People are actively dodging the draft at this point.
I mean, I feel fractions of the Ukrainian youth have just fled the country, right? Because they knew that was.
Yeah.
So I mean, the harm to Ukrainian society at this point, it's gonna be irreversible for generations. Between NATO, the Ukrainian ruling class, and Russia, it's going to be, and what's going to happen is eventually Ukraine will lose, more or less. Like, they're going to concede territory, and then the vanguard of the right wing in Ukraine, the vanguard of Ukrainian nationalism, is going to be like, well, the Jew lost the war for us, and we know where that's going to fucking go. So we can probably expect more Ukrainian Nazism in the future because of this as well, which will probably have also radicalizing effects on the rest of Europe, which is already, a sick, the fascist mind virus. So it's not going to be it's not going to have any positive impact whatsoever on humanity.
So we should probably go over what the agreement is, because that directly touches on it. A big sticking point.
I've got
a concession of territory.
Yeah, I've actually got the peace plan. Hold on, let me bring that up.
Yeah, Donald, your feed is weaker than Europe's ability. It's true, man. What are you running on? Like DSL? You have you're made of 6 pixels right now. It looks like Minecraft.
Oh no,
he's running that Ukraine army speed.
He's running that Ukraine civilian infrastructure fucking internet.
Damn, gotta send them more NATO money.
My internet's not working very well right now.
Yeah, what's up with that?
But
does Florida have that?
Florida's under cyber attack from Venezuelan crack hackers.
Yeah, man. What's it like being in Gusano land?
The People's Republic of Caracas.
Bring up the peace plan. So, but it was actually linked for something else. So let me find this real quick.
Okay, are you guys the kinds of people who have 8,000 tabs open at the same time, like me?
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, I'm always.
I just have really bad internet right now.
Yeah. Okay. What's horrid, man? Yeah, probably. Well, apparently there's a fault. No, I didn't. What are you talking? What?
You gotta give us context, bro.
Okay. Back in Poland. So
they steal the pierogi.
So basically, this 28-point peace plan that Trump put forward, and Trump is basically put it out by Witkoff with some.
Maybe I should share my screen. Maybe I should share my screen, because this looks like hieroglyphics, man. Like, you need to.
This looks like Arabic
to me. It really does.
Hold on. Is it?
It's not going to help
because it's too small.
Yeah, it's tolerable, I guess.
Yeah, okay, that's legible at least.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's fine. It's I can read it. It's English.
All right. This is Witkoff. He basically wrote this thing, and basically sound like a neocon. Well, like it might as well be a non-starter for the Trump's whole thing. Was basically the mess be accepted by Thanksgiving, which is Thanksgiving passed, and that happened, and they're talking to the Ukrainians. So I don't know what point of this was.
But, Ukrainian
sovereignty will be.
Okay, great.
Be confirmed.
Does he mean affirmed? This is a bad use of the word confirmed. I think it needs to be affirmed.
Ukrainian sovereignty confirmed. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I mean, be real. At this point, Ukrainian sovereignty is really formal. Like there's
essentially, especially if they're going to be like a NATO launch pad.
Yeah.
Regardless of how this works up, Ukrainian sovereignty is just a pure formality with North.
This is the most toxic postulate I've ever read. All ambiguities of the last 30 years will be considered settled.
Sure.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. You know that's not going to.
I mean, it's one of those things that's so much bullshit that you might as well just agree to it because it's nothing could ever.
I feel like Putin himself wrote this.
Trump wrote this shit.
Yeah, everyone's. Yeah.
And he didn't even use like ChatGPT like he normally does.
Yeah.
Okay. It was Russian to English translation.
Yeah. Okay. It is expected. I mean, I think
the dialogue.
I think Putler's cool with.
Okay, I expected that Russia will not invade NATO, will not expand further. Okay, yeah, that's
well,
nice. That'd be nice, you know. I can all agree that would be nice. I don't want NATO. I don't want Russia to invade more countries, but I don't think we the way things are going.
A dialogue will be held between Russia, mediated by.
Right.
Okay, it's just a bunch of fluff.
Boilerplate.
Yeah, receive reliable security is
what does that mean?
What that means and what that looks like. You know, they're going to reduce Ukraine military 1,000 personnel.
Okay.
It currently has 800,000 to 850,000. So
Ukraine agrees to.
I don't know how meaningful that is.
Yeah.
Its constitution that will not NATO agrees that will enshrine.
Wow, I mean
provisions.
I think that who knows what the motivation of this war really was for Putin. I mean, I'm sure we can all come up with good hypotheses, but he'll like that, I guess.
This is like Ukraine has been like offering this in the peace deals like multiple times. Like all you say we won't NATO.
Part of it is also he has the maximum leverage, at this point.
Yes.
It's kind of a stated principle of negotiation that if you have all the leverage, you should go for broke. So I mean, that's sort of what he's doing here.
Exactly.
Going for broke is getting all of the regions they've captured.
Well, that's in there.
Yeah. Okay. Wait.
Yeah. No. Hold on. I guess this is all kind of like the fluff that's existed in the existing peace talk.
European fighter jets will be stationed in Poland.
European fighter jets. I don't know if that's new. I mean, I think U.S. guarantee. U.S. will receive compensation if Russia.
I gotta get one.
For training, in addition to a decisive, coordinated military response, global sanctions will be reinstated and all be revoked. That's to be expected. If Ukraine launches a missile at Moscow or St. Petersburg without cause, I mean, no shit. And then we'll get to join the EU. I think that's been in the talks before. Powerful global pact to rebuild Ukraine. So we're going to basically get a bunch of investors to loot the country.
Yeah, that's our motivation there. That's the U.S. motivation.
Yeah. Rebuild, modernize, and operate Ukraine's sure. So yeah, that's going to be said, as they like to call it. World Bank will develop a special financial package to accelerate these efforts. Yeah, that's going to be really bad. Russia will be reintegrated in the global economy. That's really what Russia wants, I think. This is what it wants. They want to reintegrate the global economy, and they want to be part of the eight. They want the U.S. Funds. All right. There's going to be a joint American-Russian security or whatever. non-proliferation treaties. Okay, so it gets kind of interesting. Both countries undertake to implement educational programs in schools and society that promoting understanding and tolerance in cultures and eliminating racism and prejudice. Ukraine will adopt EU rules on religious
prediction. Putin is woke.
Russia has to go woke.
Putin is woke.
Yeah, Russia has to go woke. Both countries will agree to abolish all discriminatory measures and guarantee the Ukrainian and Russian media and education. So you have to allow Ukrainian and Ukraine will have to allow Russian.
No, I find that really weird. That's a very weird.
It seems like a all
ideology be rejected and prohibited.
That's Joe.
That goes without saying.
There's gonna be a very influential clique in Ukraine that's like, guys, this is not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the Ukrainian nationalists are going to like this stuff, and I mean, this is obviously also more punishment for Russia because there's not a large Ukrainian minority in Russia.
And that was kind of one of the ideological reasons that Putin gave for the war, right? It was the protection of the Russian minorities in Ukraine.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the territories. This is where I think some of it gets. Crimea, the Donetsk will be recognized as de facto by the United States. And Zaporizhzhia, you say, will be frozen along the line of contact.
I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Zaporizhzhia.
Yeah, I know that because of Taurus.
Recognition along the line of contact. So if they're going to be like military, I guess, but it says like definition along the line of contact.
Well, that's where the border is going to
be. Will relinquish other other agreed territories it controls outside 5 regions. So any other territories, I guess, but
isn't that
Ukrainian forces will withdraw for the part of Oblast. Zone will be considered a neutral, demilitarized buffer zone. Belonging to the Russian Federation. Russian forces will not be demilitarized. So it's going to be recognized as Russian, but the military won't be allowed into it. But regardless, like Ukraine is basically going to give up territory.
The EU position has been that Ukraine should give up 0 territory, not 1 inch.
Yeah, not going to work. Not going to work.
That's not realistic.
It's not realistic.
That's not realistic. As much as I I don't want to I don't have a dog in this.
Setting the precedent of annexation by conquest is no bueno. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a fact of reality still, but it's pretty.
Yeah, it does make me.
It's a dangerous, massively public example of it.
It's essentially sending the message.
Listen,
if you can actually.
In World War I, one of the demands for settling World War I was like peace without annexations.
Yeah.
Right.
That wasn't realistic then either.
Yeah, and after World War I,
realistic.
Yeah, and after World War I, there were all kinds of carvings, of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Romania, Hungary, blah blah blah. So Poland got a lot. So that evidently didn't happen, but. Yeah, but I mean, the truth.
So yeah, they're gonna agree on this force as part of the deal. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's basically saying that these territorial arrangements that you change for legitimate, you just can't change them through force again. But
it's essentially sending the message that if you can start a war and win, then you get to take whatever you like.
Which, by the way, is basically what the U.S. has done forever.
Yeah, I mean,
this formalizes it into an international agreement. Yeah. Is the difference.
Yeah. So we're not going to prevent Ukraine using the Dnieper River. There's going to have a humanitarian committee to
Is it going to be like the Ukrainian Humanitarian Crisis Fund where they'd send like Nazi bikers to shoot people in line? Is it going to be like that? I wonder.
At this point, who knows? Instead of like Nazi bikers, it's going to be like neo-Tsarist like militias or something like that. All parties involved in this conflict will receive full amnesty for their actions. No, war crimes all under the bridge, and it's all going to be held together by the J. Trump. So, yeah, that's the agreement. Like I said, might as well have been written much.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing is like Trump's guarantees are literally worth like shit because the Israelis have killed hundreds of people and broken the ceasefire hundreds of times. So this is legally binding, because of Trump is not a very good note to end it on.
A bunch of hocus pocus.
It's a bunch
magic
of bullshit.
words.
Yeah. I mean, what can you say? That, as you said, that's basically the formalization of. I mean, it's basically, in many ways, it's just kind of Ukraine surrendering, but at the same time, Ukraine is militarily like fucked right now.
It's really hard to see how they would ever take back the territories that they say that they don't want to give up.
Yeah, I mean, why on knowing Putler, why on earth would he give up any of those regions he now controls?
3+ years of NATO largesse. And they've only lost 25% of their territory. So I don't think another 3-4 years is going to do it.
Yeah. No, they can't. They can't keep it up. And
listen, I understand Ukrainians don't want to like concede to Russia on this stuff. They don't want national pride. Russia divide your country. It's obviously got to be like
pretty brutal,
and seeing how many having from this and seeing it all fail. It's the national humanitarian. It's going to be pretty bad for you. Of it is that the West put Ukraine in this situation where they couldn't actually win, and now and I don't know what else to say. Like.
Me neither. I mean, what else can you say? They've been.
I mean, it's between Trump, Zelensky, and Putin now.
There was probably a point in the war where things would have been more on Ukraine's terms, but the Europeans and the Americans just kept pushing the Ukrainians, saying, "We'll give you infinite ammo or whatever."
Right.
And in the end, that was never really going to be the case, and Europe doesn't have the money really to remilitarize in the ways that would be necessary to like fully be able to fund the Ukrainians kind of independently of the Americans. So this has been a big war for basically nothing that has, as I said, destroyed a whole generations of Ukrainian youth, and it's really a crime. It's really a fucking crime. And we can thank the classes of Russia, of Ukraine, and of Europe and America for this fucking debacle. They've really just destroyed this whole generation. And unfortunately, it's the Nazis who are probably going to reap the benefits. It's the Ukrainian Nazis, right?
Yeah, and to answer your question, Marcus C. Antonius, obviously Russia has been heavily sanctioned, and people say they could be sanctioned. They've moved into more trading more on in China and other sanctioned countries.
Well, at first,
economically, they've actually done fairly well.
Well, at first in the war, it's supercharged their oil exports. The war, that is, and so. I mean, I imagine that it suffered pretty bad. I imagine that it's like in a state of recession, but
it's not actually. It's been growing.
Yeah, so
actually,
they've actually
the fastest.
done fairly well considering all things considered. Russia's
but it's basically down to the stimulative.
Be able to.
It's basically down to the stimulative effects of war Keynesianism.
Yeah, it's exactly.
It's also like it's very precarious because not only is it supercharged inflation, but when the war is done, all of that production is going to flatline.
Yeah,
it's going
exactly.
to crater.
But well, here's one thing, Carlos. It's not like
that's kind of why
it's not like a lot of that production is geared to anything else besides the production of arms. I mean,
no, you're right, but it's still going to have that effect.
It will, yeah.
Essentially a recessionary effect.
It will, but I feel like they're just going to double down on trying to export arms. I mean, already the Russian economy is basically just a giant gas station with a Walmart filled with guns in it, So they've built up that capacity. I imagine they're going to try to keep pushing arms exports, right? So, but yeah, as you said, it's going to have that. There's going to be that effect at first. That is that they're going to have to.
So the way the Russian economy is. Well, that's the way the Russian economy is operating now. That's not really good for the future of peace. If you think, if the risk is that their economy will flatline, they're no longer at war, and they're no longer able to keep all this war production going. It is for them to keep going to war, right?
Wars. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think
if not fighting wars, like sending out weapons in other wars and keeping other wars going.
Well, they're huge.
The direct effect of this is going to be to like directly imperialize Russia. Like they won't really have a choice except to export arms and export war.
Yeah.
Like if Russia was an imperialist before this conflict, they certainly will be after this is signed. If it's signed.
I mean, they're not world hegemon.
Right. That's kind of where I'm from on this. Is that at first, I agreed to people that Russia is not really an imperialist power. Its economy is strong enough to compete with the economy of the European powers. It's assumed the U.S.
I mean,
so it's really the U.S.
Everything has to proceed from what we mean by that term, right? By imperialist. I feel like so often we, on the left, we take it as some kind of moral category where to call something, to say Russia is imperialist is to somehow look away from the fact that the U.S. is the world hegemon and the greatest exporter of violence. But, if we do consider as part of the quote unquote definition of imperialism, overweening military power, militarism, expansionism, then what else do we call Russia? I mean, they're basically probably one of the 3 or 4 greatest military powers on earth. They're obviously militarist. They're obviously expansionist, especially if this agreement goes through. What else can you say it is? You know what I'm saying? Like what if we
mean like are they part of the kind of the imperial are on the top of
well, once again, it depends what it depends.
Imperialism mean that there's like a hierarchy,
but it also depends what we mean by that hierarchy. I mean, the hierarchy is not organized in one simple fashion. Evidently, America is basically number one in everything, economically, militarily. But Russia militarily is far superior to any of the European powers. Like honestly, like it is. I mean, maybe not in cutting edge technologies. Like the French have the Rafale and stuff like that in terms of jets, but militarily speaking, I mean, there's much bigger army than any European army. So I mean, it depends what we mean. Are they?
I mean, like, in the lens of imperialism.
Yeah, but
you have a hierarchy of nation states who are able to economically oppress nations.
But I mean,
and theory, this have the core nations. You have the world systems, and now take on Russia is semi-peripheral. It's not, a peripheral nation exactly. It's not nations in the world, but it's not part of the core imperialist nations either. It's kind of like in between the two. And I guess the way you could kind of look at this war is like Russia is using its military power to like jumpstart the core.
I don't know. I'm not convinced by any of that. I'm kind of
I gotta agree. I'm not convinced either.
I'm not convinced by any of that analysis. Lenin's analysis, even in the time period he was in, was not like, it had its problems. But just some easy division between core, subperiphery, and periphery seems moot at best.
I also don't see how this catapults them into core. Even by that, by those standards.
Like, I just
make them as economically powerful as the U.S. Position where it could start competing more effectively with other economic.
Not really. Economically, all it has is oil and weaponry. That's.
Could I just say real quick? Like, I would argue based on a definition of like the economic dynamics of essentially, it would imperialize Russia because it would force them to export arms. It would force them to. Right now, the relationship between Russia and the rest of like their near neighbors isn't one of like exporting capital productively. It's more like, Russian oligarchs buy real estate in Paris, for example. Like, I think it would push them to do that. It would push them to actually, I guess a more classical definition of imperialism.
Well, you could argue that there's some kind of relation of dependency between Russia and, say, Germany, where Russia depends on Germany in the sense that it needs to sell its raw materials.
That Germany also depends on Russia because the entire basis of Russian sort of German productivity is keep Russian
That's
oil.
Also what I was going to argue. It's not
dependency.
But there is an asymmetry in the sense that Germany gets to produce quote unquote finished goods, right? More added value goods like cars and machinery and whatnot, and Russia, kind of like a quote unquote third world nation, is reduced to selling oil. But
that's what I'm used to, selling oil. Like it's basically just selling raw materials to richer countries.
At the same time, the analogy is not complete between Russia and a third world country. So I guess then you have the semi-peripheral distinction. However,
right. But it has its own regional ambition, power.
Once again, I have to counter that with the military dimension, which is that for something to be considered semi-peripherally economically, you then get into this contradiction and saying, well, even though it has the most massive and powerful military in Europe, it's nothing but some plaything of the true imperial powers, and that's ridiculous. Because as this negotiation shows, they're literally dictating terms to Europe. So, like, it's what I'm trying to say.
I wouldn't say they're just the plaything of powers. Like that's kind of like what the Z position is, right? Is that Russia is this oppressed nation that's defending itself from the imperialists.
So yeah,
I don't think that's the case, but
I'm trying to just think things through and complicate this image of it being non-imperialist, but obviously, like, all I've concluded is that it has imperialistic tendencies. You can call it an imperial power if you want, but like, it doesn't put it in the same position as the world hegemon.
Yeah, it's not in the same league.
Yeah, I mean, and it seems like that's such an obviously true and uncontroversial take that it's just the one that we should start with. Like, you can complicate it or whatever.
I think the question as to whether Russia is currently imperialist is rather academic.
That's another thing.
To me, all big nations have imperialistic traits because they have to. Like, that's national or international competitions between economies are sort of projected onto geopolitical, reality. So that to me shows that. I mean, it's a. But what I would argue is that if this goes through, then there's a very much stronger case to consider Russian imperialist, like without ambiguity.
Yeah, I mean, and what that means for us as people in the belly of the beast, it doesn't change much. Our crosshairs have to be fixed on the U.S. imperialism. One, for the simple fact that we're here and we have to fight our ruling class, but secondly, because it's pretty obvious that U.S. imperialism is the imperialism. It's the world hegemon, and it's the U.S. is the greatest purveyor of violence in the world. It does nothing diplomatically, so to speak, but export barbarism, as the last 3 years of genocide in Gaza have just reaffirmed. I mean, I agree, heavy duty. Don't get me wrong.
Heavy duty, you okay there, buddy?
Yeah, we agree. But once again, this is not a moral debate or whatever. And as I said, like, the conversation ends up kind of being very academic for us in the U.S. because, as I said, our crosshairs have to be on our ruling class and on and the major problem.
Right. But I think that Russia actually was like a third world country, a truly like oppressed nation, and this war really was about like Russianing itself from like colonization from the West. Like different, that would change things. But I think because we can see these tendencies, Russia itself as an imperialist, obviously to the same extent, so it's not going to be able to core overnight. Economically dominate weaker countries.
Yeah,
and different from like,
and in fact,
third world, like,
so imperialism becomes a quote unquote strategy of economic competitors to impose or win sort of or outcompete economically by using extra economic means. I mean, that's kind of what it is, right? To link that to what 1875 was asking for how long? I mean, the last 100 years have shown that a hegemon doesn't get displaced by purely economic means. There is a violent discontinuity that occurs called World War. And that really is what turns over the slow decline into just a replacement. So unfortunately, my prediction is that U.S. imperialism will not go off into the sunset peacefully. There will have to be a world war for a new hegemon to emerge, really. And that's sucks for all of humanity because we are in a period of nuclear armament, right? So, it is what it is, but that's
World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones.
Yeah, I mean,
you heard it here first.
Not even. It'll be amoebas killing each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, we won't exist. There won't even be life on Earth. I mean, like, it's scary. It's really scary. So yeah, I mean,
audio.
Mine?
It might be yours, Donald, because you're cutting it in and out.
No.
Whose audio, bro? No cap.
Yeah. Is it mine?
Well, you do get choppy because of your connection.
Yeah, your shitty Florida connection.
That's what I get for being in Florida.
So maybe bleak as fuck. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't. I
mean, don't come onto our stream for good news.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I'm sorry, guys.
I'm just stating things how I see them, whether it's true, whether it's an accurate prediction. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. Is the truth. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty. I think that's a solid take, Kilgore. I think that's a solid take. It will have a privileged position. No, because the Chinese can produce their own arms now. They don't fucking need Russia for anything. Oh, oil. They do need them for oil.
They'll be the Austria-Hungary to Germany. What's the analogy I'm trying to make here?
I mean,
they will be
to Prussia.
Right. They will be the Austria-Hungary to China that whatever.
You know what you're saying. I see the parallel you're making. I mean, I think Austria had a bit more going than Russia.
Yeah. They're gonna.
Let me put it this way: Russia is a shitty imperial.
Well, the difference is they can actually field an army, like
it's a fucking second-rate one.
An experienced army.
The irony is
more experience.
The irony is that it's just replicating its like czarist place, right? Like just like this shitty imperial fucking. Well, I mean, actually, it's kind of done better because it's fielded an army against an EU-equipped army, and it's won by attrition. Whereas, when the Crimean War, the fucking Russians got their shit kicked out of them by Europe.
I mean, this is kind of like fighting a mini NATO.
Yeah,
and they've
done
proven themselves. Yeah,
they've seized 25% of Ukrainian territory. Yeah, Donald's feed is cooked. I know.
Yeah, no, I think if this is on these terms, even if it's like slightly modified in favor, it's a Russian victory. I think.
Yeah. I think that's
it's a Russian victory.
Yeah. This is just a formalization of Ukraine's defeat.
But yeah, I think I think negotiations like a inner power showing on between Rubio people and the Van.
Yeah.
You had a leak recently. Witkoff was basically advising Putin on how to talk to Trump, which I thought was kind of interesting because it kind of shows that there are people in Trump who are in the pro-Russian position and kind of like put pressure on Trump, I guess. So it kind of goes against by Russia and is just like doing whatever Putin wants.
Yeah, I
mean, you have the
yeah, I mean Rubio. I was making a joke that whenever Rubio can water his plants with the blood of the world proletariat, he'll do it. So I'm sure he's for this war going on. But yeah, as Beckenridge was saying, I actually have been a little bit updated on the battlefield situation, and they're just going to keep losing territory. And in some ways, like if I were the Putler, I wouldn't sign any deal. I'd just keep going. Like, what's the disincentive? What?
Well, yeah, that's what he's been doing.
What's the disincentive?
The disincentive is I don't think they can keep going that much longer because it's having real effects in Russia, like social effects.
Yeah, Donald. Are you gonna dip?
I mean, I think Russians are tired of war too, man.
Like, Florida has worse internet than most third world countries. Yeah, he's calling in from Algiers. Okay, well, we're left to it. Thank God we can talk shit about that guy now. Yeah,
no, but I'm saying, like, I don't even for Russia. I think they want to end the war relatively soon because people are tired of war there too. It can start to become like bad for Putin's regime if this keeps going.
Yeah, the thing is it's so hard to get credible information on internal Russian politics. It's kind of like the only place that's harder to get info on is China, reliable information. But like, I can't imagine that everyone around Putler is happy, right? I can't imagine they're happy.
I mean, just like a year or so ago, you don't remember that crazy Wagner guy tried to like coup him?
Oh yeah, dude, that was the worst. That was like January 6th for like drunk Russian uncle guys. That was really, and of course it was way more violent, but and then he crashed.
Right, yeah.
His plane
he
crashed.
stopped, and then like a few months later, his plane crashed. In what was the most obvious, like Putin assassination.
Well, Breckenridge, you also kind of allude to something, which is that the Russian oligarchy is like really tied into Europe, Western Europe. Like they invest there, they live there, they have family and kids there and stuff. And so I'm sure that they want this in part to end for just purely personal reasons. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but like Roman Abramovich, one of Putin's like I think he was Putin's first director of Gazprom. But he's a major Russian oligarch, and he bought Chelsea FC in London, and that was like his prize like pet, and he was forced to sell it with the war. So I'm sure people like that are like, I want this shit to be over so I can buy my 27th 8-bedroom apartment in London, right? So I can't imagine everyone. Yeah, exactly. Sanctions relief more than
right.
Anything. But that, what I'm saying is kind of the personal expression of that. You can't.
Right. I mean, it's all tied together because ultimately what's the result is that people's lives are more miserable. People become, the war becomes intolerable.
Yeah. It's just
if they could tolerate the war, they'd keep going.
Yeah,
they would have invaded the rest of fucking Ukraine. What difference does it make to them?
Yeah, I understand the narrative that Russia will storm across Eastern Europe because of the Russian social situation. What is that narrative? I'm not.
Yeah, that's not what we're saying. We're
yeah,
saying
exactly.
Exact opposite.
Yeah, Roman was really in like when, Putin came to power kind of in a kind of silent coup. It was expected by people like Khodorkovsky and Smolensk and stuff like that he would be another fucking puppet like Boris Yeltsin, and it turned out he wasn't, and he replaced kind of the Khodorkovskys, that initial generation that just like plundered the Soviet state, with the new generation of oligarchs that were more pliable to him. And Abramovich was like one of those people. He's like very, very close to Putin. He's very much a creature of Putin. Yeah, they've been, their lives. I mean, you can't say their lives have been ruined because they're billionaires and shit, but it's made investing and living abroad and stuff all the harder. No, I know it's not, but I'm curious what you mean like as in like the Russian hordes, if they're not checked in Ukraine, will
yeah, that's a very common
will descend on Europe. Yeah, I mean it's
the orcs will ride on Kiev and then Paris.
The fucking Uruk-hai are coming, bro. Yeah, I mean that's typical European chauvinism, right? The Eastern horde. It's the fear of the Eastern hordes.
I mean, they were saying the same thing about the Tsar.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even Trump kind of, or not Trump. Wow, even Marx.
Yeah,
my brain is fried. My brain is fried. Even Karl Marx kind of had that discourse.
Yeah,
I mean, he kind of did. He did have that.
He very much saw Poland as like this bulwark of European civilization against like czarist despotism. And the joke's on him because now Poland is just shit.
Yeah, I mean, Poland was a reason to support Natlib back in the day, but now
back in the day, unfortunately,
way back in the day.
Yeah, way back in the day.
Way back in the 19th century.
Well, yeah, exactly. It just goes to show that nationalism is instrumental for us, and there's nothing inherently good about any kind of nationalism. It's all historically contextual.
It is historically contextual, agreed. Based on certain situations, a nationalism at any given point can have more or less emancipatory or progressive content, but that doesn't mean indefinitely that nationalism will always have that, right? Or that's the content, so to speak, that will be explored in it. And Polish nationalism is an example of that. It had this like deeply Republican strain at some point, and by the 1920s, and it morphed into just proto-fascism.
So
shit like that.
So I think before is my internet working like any better now?
It's a little better, honestly.
Yeah, it's a little better.
A little better.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that situation. Hopefully next week it will be better, but fuck. So anyway, I was talking about Rubio before I signed off and how he's kind of the really pro NATO guy. Vance and Witkoff are basically the let's just give Russia whatever he wants or whatever they want, and let's get this over with guy. There's a power struggle going on between the two of them. There was this leak. So now Rubio has kind of got Venezuela as his new little playground, it seems. Witkoff is kind of stepping off from the Gaza theater. And now the focus from Rubio and his little Gusano lobby in Florida here is on Venezuela. And it's looking really serious. Like, they've been escalating the threat levels for around a couple months now. The strategy seems to be that we're going to put as much of the U.S. carrier group on the coast of Venezuela as we possibly can. We're going to put a bounty on Maduro. And the idea of the bounty is to try and get his military staff, his generals, to all eventually turn on him, to rebel on him. But, obviously Maduro has his regime lock. He's got good intelligence. He's got the Cuban government working with him, and they have solid intelligence contacts that are working within his government, keeping the military on lock. And he also has a lot of people in the population who are armed and loyal to him. So there's that, and there's that factor. But nonetheless, the U.S. is increasing the pressure, hoping that, if they keep the bounty high, if they keep the threat that everyone will get blown up if they don't take the money and turn on Maduro, that they can take that option and do a coup for the U.S. and hand the country over to the Yankees, that will be the lesser evil for them to take, then do that. But so far, that hasn't worked. And Maduro's got his regime on lock. And it seems like the U.S. is under the pressure now by basically closing Venezuelan airspace. Ships off the coast of Venezuela, these little rafts under the completely ridiculous claim that they're drug smuggling boats. They've been doing this for a while. And now they're closing airspace in Venezuela, which is completely against international law, completely an act of Russian, completely uncalled for. And it seems like the pressure is being set to a maximum level. I don't know what they can do next at this point. So,
and
I mean,
characteristically, China and Russia silent, I imagine.
Yeah.
There's nothing coming from them. I mean, not that Russia would be in any moral position to to tell the U.S. not to invade Venezuela, but you still expect something here.
Right. So just a couple hours ago, actually, Trump tells Maduro in a call that he must leave Venezuela in order to save himself and his family. This is the New York Post. Obviously not the best source to be lying about this. So
so what is, just real quick, what is the idea with the bounty? Is it like, the entire Venezuelan general staff is going to share like $1 million between all of them? Why would they think that that's?
I guess the idea is whoever breaks with the Bolivarian regime and turns over Maduro gets the money.
How much is the bounty? Oh, 50 million.
Yes. So the idea is you've got all these U.S. carriers. They're staring you down, and they're gonna blow you up, or you can take the 50 million and turn on Maduro and get rewarded by the Yankees for betraying your country and not get blown up. And that's the game that they're playing. And the idea is to more and more to make the deal seem more and more enticing. And as I said, Maduro, he's got his regime on lock. He's regime pilled as fuck. He's got it down. I think we can criticize whatever we want about his socialist bona fides, his democratic bona fides, but it has not collapsed the way that the U.S. wants it to collapse right now.
Yeah, it's because I think probably a lot of people see what we see and know, which is that the U.S. intervening in Venezuela will destroy the country in new ways that have just, like, it will be Iraq, it will be Libya, it will be Syria, and it will not only be an invasion, but will set off a horrible civil war, and Venezuela will never recover from it. So I think anyone with a brain is skeptical of the U.S. intervening, unless you're a disgusting, brainless piece of shit Gusano who.
Well, not Brett Stevens is saying that it's actually going to go really great. So you actually have like centrist libs who like usually hate Trump, or obviously like actually kind of on his side with this one, which is so totally predictable.
The unholy alliance.
Yeah, I mean the liberals are just fuck them. I mean, just I don't want to say they never learn, because they're agents of imperialism and they're full participants in it, but they're always like, oh, the intervention will work this time. We fucking laid waste to 12 countries in a row in the last how many years, but this time it'll work. It's like just ridiculous. What can we do?
Well, we have this bullshit Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh, that fucking piece of shit.
We have Maria Corina Machado, and she puts out a video a few hours ago.
Look at this ghoul.
Yeah,
First of all, there's no life
she puts out her
behind
individual productivity.
Let dignity serve as a driving force behind our national revitalization. The force that establishes a free marketplace of ideas and enterprise.
Fuck.
That fosters the complete development of each individual, and that restricts the government's authority to its proper function as the steadfast guardian of our inalienable rights.
Pimping out the country to fucking exile.
Who is this Davos ghoul?
Just a total ghoul and toxic.
Yeah, this is just
disgusting. These people, I cannot express to you how much I just despise. These people have no self-respect. They think that sucking on American dick is going to get them somewhere. They're disgusting. They deserve whatever fucking subordination they get, honestly.
And this lady, she's rejecting a compromise with the PSUV of the Venezuelan left. Like, she wants total privatization. Like, to translate that video is basically, I'm going to government into nothing more than the guarantor of U.S. property claims.
Yeah, no, she's actually I don't even know how she can call herself a Venezuelan or pretend to have any national pride when she's really just willing to just sell off the fucking country for spare
how do you win a Nobel Peace Prize for asking the U.S. to intervene in your country? Like, what the fuck kind of insane world do we live in? Where you win a peace prize for inviting the number one imperialist bully in the world to fucking bomb your country.
I mean, the irony is rich. It's like, there was a Israeli physicist who one time nominated Menachem Begin for the Nobel Prize in Physics, and people said, why on earth would you do that? And he said something like, because he's just as likely to win a peace prize, right?
That's a good one.
Yeah. Oh man. But I just want to take a moment to say, okay, Rilo Forehead. I'll have to look into that book, but I just want to say, I love our chat, because y'all motherfuckers, we do not have a
I want to say I know about that book. Nair actually has a really good review of that book. I haven't read it yet, but I have read other Kagarlitsky.
Yeah, I have to look into it.
I might have actually read it.
Kagarlitsky is actually in a Russian prison right now for criticizing Putin's war. So
yeah,
look up his case and support him if you can.
That's a very good way of. That's a very pithy title. Empire of the Periphery.
Yeah, it is the book about Russia's kind of place in the world system and trying to understand.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. That is very interesting.
Yeah, so sorry to go back to Russia, but I did want to address that comment because Kagarlitsky is a very brave man that I have a lot of respect for.
You know, I had found an article by Reuters on the Venezuelan military.
Well, yeah, they're saying that the Venezuelan military is not in a good spot, basically.
Yeah, they're saying. I mean, it's been disjointed, but I've read that they're preparing for a guerrilla war situation.
Yeah, because they're obviously not going to be able to fight a conventional war against the U.S.
Yeah,
which I think we already kind of knew this, that if Venezuela actually gets invaded, like they're going to have to do a guerrilla war.
Dude, Caracas is not like it's a huge city.
Yeah.
It's a huge city. So whatever guerrilla warfare goes down there, it's going to be fucking brutal. It's going to be really bad.
Well, they're going to be walking into a turkey shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we've talked about this before, but in Venezuela, you have narcos in the rural areas, in the peripheral areas of Venezuela. And they're obviously going to be weaponized by the imperialists. They already are being weaponized by the imperialists to destabilize Venezuela.
Yeah.
And so I can imagine that,
Yeah, they're going to operate as, they're going to operate under the auspice of the U.S. invasion.
You have the Chavistas who are armed to the teeth in a lot of cases. Venezuela, the PSUV is arming their supporters, kind of creating a people's militia, actually, which is not the first time.
They have been for a while. They had that for a while.
Yeah, they have been for a while in preparing the population to fight.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of shows, this is not just another bourgeois state, but there actually is like a real.
Yeah, they're popular. They're popular elements still, even with the degeneration of the regime.
Yeah. Yeah, we can have our criticisms. We can point to the failures of their economic plan and stuff or whatever, but there's still a socialist project there, I think.
I mean, this invasion is only going to drive more and more people to support the regime. I mean, you shouldn't underestimate like the extent to which people will defend their country ultimately, especially from naked aggression.
Yeah. And one thing I want to say about this is obviously we stand with Venezuela. We support Venezuela in this war. Goes without saying, but I think looking at the broader geopolitical picture, I do think a lot of this is about China. And I do think it is about the fact that in 2023, for example, Venezuela signed an agreement with China, a major cooperation agreement with China. China is increasing its cooperation throughout Latin America. If you look at the numbers, China is a big investor in pretty much all of Latin America, except Mexico, maybe a few other places, and bigger than the U.S. So, obviously the U.S. never was happy about Venezuela. Oil interests were never happy about their oil getting nationalized. They were never happy about the fact that a socialist government was, taking over the oil reserves of Venezuela. But I think that the fact that China is increasing its engagement in Latin America and Venezuela is making this even more of a dire situation for U.S. imperialism. And I think that
Oh, but it's interesting what you said, Breckenridge, which is it will be another Vietnam for you. I think unfortunately, I mean, in a sense, it will be, in the sense that it'll be a massive sink of U.S. resources. But I don't think that the Venezuelans have the same military lineage as the Vietnamese. The Vietnamese were forged in generations of resistance to French occupation. They were forged in World War II in resisting the Japanese. They were forged in the fight afterwards, fighting the French forces, the French Foreign Legion. They were forged in fighting the Americans and the Chinese. So The Vietnamese were very good fighters. I don't know about the Venezuelans. I don't know enough. I really don't know enough.
They have a lot less fighting experience.
Yeah, let me put it that way.
When they had, when the U.S. invaded. So
I mean, in terms of like just the layup, like just in terms, it's jungle. It's a lot of jungle and mountain. So that will make it very, any guerrilla resistance will be very difficult to quell. If they even have if the guerrillas even have like a modicum of experience or ability, but I don't quite think it could be a Vietnam in the sense that the Vietnamese were like very proficient fighters. And I don't know enough about the current state of the regime, but the Vietnamese communists had massive support north and south, right? Massive support, and were like deeply organized and very popular in the countryside, involved in everything from farming to defense forces. I don't know what the current PSUV regime is like. I don't know enough.
I think there is more dissatisfaction with the PSUV.
So I think it's a different military situation, unfortunately.
But I do think that they will have the aspect of defending the nation on their side. They will have the reality of we got some fresh news. They will have the reality that they're defending their nation against U.S. imperialism on their side. But there is the fact that the PSUV has made political errors, I think, that have weakened its legitimacy with a lot of the population. Even if they've been exaggerated by the imperialist press, which is completely true.
Look how the New York Post writes this shit.
I know. It's so
fucking news. The land as part of its efforts to stem the flow of drugs into the U.S. from the socialist country, just parroting the state position with zero fucking... this lie of the free press. My God.
11 U.S. warships and 15,000 troops. Oh, my God. A Marine Expeditionary Force capable of an amphibious land invasion has been deployed as part of efforts.
Drugs kill more Americans than we've ever... What drugs?
They come from Colombia. So insane. What are they calling? It's like the cartel, the Sun, Cartel de Sol or something like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
It's not real. It's totally fake.
Even the CIA is like, it does not exist. Jesus Christ. Sorry for yelling so intensely, but it's just like...
Oh, it's infuriating.
It's infuriating.
I also yell by myself at home.
God.
The 11 warships is the USS Ford, which houses the Carrier Strike Group, including 9 carrier air wings. This is really bringing out the full fucking artillery here, man.
New York Post is just such a rag, bro. Like,
this picture of Trump.
This is not... I mean, it's pretty obvious to say this is not news.
Yeah. So... I don't know. It really seems like this is getting serious. I'm worried tomorrow maybe there'll be troops on the ground or like actual bombings of Venezuela. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I fully expect it.
You really think it? You think this is like actually it? Like they're actually gonna take action soon?
Well, closing Venezuelan airspace is suggesting that. Yeah, they're about to.
Yeah. Fuck, man.
Yeah, I've heard of the Takis and stuff like that and the short-range missiles. I mean, if they take down some ship, great, but it doesn't change the fact that the U.S. just, they can throw so many resources at this. And
15,000 is pretty low. Maybe they're trying to do like special forces operations. They're gonna like send in like a team to try to like take out Maduro or something. They might try something really stupid.
They're gonna
the plan really is to like get him deposed somehow.
If they send in 15,000 into Caracas, they will get shredded. I don't care if you send a team of Arnold Schwarzeneggers, they will get fucking shredded to bits.
Yeah,
like
they'll have to fight for every inch of that city.
As you said, it's a city of millions of people. They're just gonna jetpack from the sea to like
Well, the thing that complicates this, I think, is well, how far inland is Caracas? Well,
It's
the
in
thing
the
that
mountains.
yeah, but it's also right by the coast. So the thing that complicates it is they're gonna have naval support, ships. I mean, planes or whatever.
Yeah, it is pretty close to the.
Fuck, man.
I don't know if it's in range of like naval artillery or whatever, naval guns, but they will have them right off the coast.
Yeah, really bad. This is shot. I mean, I guess this was.
I think one thing that's worth looking at too is the polling around this and how the American public feels about it.
Well, the truth is that like just as there's a boost for a regime under national invasion, there tends to be a boost in a regime for invasions. But I don't know.
Well,
yeah, and then Breckenridge, they'd also been devastated by the fact that, I mean, the destruction of those wars to the economy and the sanctions, and I mean the Iraqi economy by the time the Americans invaded was just in a state of utter disrepair. Yeah,
and you see this. So yeah, only 17% U.S. adult citizens favor.
That 17% needs to just be punched in the face.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's this many people is pretty embarrassing. 38% not sure. I mean, come on.
Not sure? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I know, come on. And then 45% are correct, which is very nice to see the majority at least is correct on this.
Yeah, but
it's not enough, but it's still the majority. Okay, so let's take what we got. Okay, we can say that only like a small minority of U.S. adult citizens support this.
So I looked it up. Apparently, Caracas is within range of like surface to surface missiles.
Yeah, it is.
U.S.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be bombing Caracas. Maybe not like a ground invasion, but they're gonna be bombing Caracas.
Yeah, could the U.S. control Venezuelan airspace? Why couldn't they?
They already do. Easy. They currently do.
Yeah. So among Democrats, it's only 6%. 66 oppose. Independents, and then Republicans. 34% of Republicans are in favor of deposing Maduro. So
dude, the Republicans are just so pathetic.
Yeah, it's like that's Trump's anti-war base for you guys.
What a bunch of ghosts! Just really,
Jesus Christ.
Like what?
So even if Trump does this, there's the danger that he'll alienate anti-war base. It's like, what are you talking about?
Anti-war base? Look at these fucking chunks.
I know, like they are more pro-war than the Democrats and the Independents.
Of course they are. They want their fucking red meat, hogs.
God, so
we're so fucked.
Most Americans don't have an opinion of Maduro. 6% view him somewhat favorably, and 34% view him.
Yo, 6? Did you say 6%?
6% view him somewhat.
That's pretty ambitious of them, man. It's not an easy position to take. They pulled a bunch. Yeah, maybe.
And obviously, more Americans approve and disapprove of U.S. military attack. Whoa, this is. So most people are against overthrowing Maduro, but they are okay with
extrajudicially and extra legally just killing people.
Oh my god!
On the basis of just no fucking evidence in a country that's not even theirs. That's disgusting.
Yeah, that is disgusting. What is wrong with America?
I just can't wait till the day that I just can't wait for the day when America suffers some kind of national humiliation at the hands of a greater power. Americans are forced to suffer for the first time in their life,
right?
Like for what it means, like to be in that kind of position. The lack of empathy that permeates America right now is disgusting. It is. I I don't even know what to say anymore. Honestly, I'm day by day I'm losing my faith more and more in this fucking godforsaken hellhole.
Yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous. Obviously, like, you know, I'm like, yeah, most Americans aren't, you know, for this stupid war. And then you see this, like, well, they're actually pretty stupid regardless, and they are fine with evil things that America does when they see it as like in their interests, I guess, because, well, you know,
I know what I love. You know what I love? Containing suspected drug smugglers. To say even suspected is like,
yeah,
it's like way, it's like way, is way too much.
You don't even know if they actually are or not.
Yeah,
like, I know. It's like, just so
they're
insane.
suspected as like drug smugglers in the same way Donald is, which is to say, I can say that about him. Like, that doesn't make it true. It's possible.
I don't mean to laugh, but it is funny. It's morbid,
like suspect,
like macabre.
Of course, there's no fucking evidence. None. They're just making shit up. Oh my god! Containing. I don't even know what adjective to use. Containing possible. Suspected is way too strong.
I mean, honestly, dude, I blame like 20 years of propaganda and shit like the Narcos show, because that's the sort of shit that people are really like thinking about when they ask them these questions.
I was trying to watch like Narcos just for like, you know, turn my brain off at like 2 a.m. and watch something dumb, and I couldn't. It's just this Neanderthal fat gringo, like just explaining why he has the right to just like torture fucking Colombian people and do whatever the hell he wants in a country that's not his without speaking one fucking word of Spanish.
Right.
I'm like, I don't want to listen to this.
It's the most perfidious form of fucking imperialist propaganda, man.
Just this vigilante conception of justice is really getting out of hand.
Yeah. This is the war on drugs, though. I mean, it really does show how the war on drugs has been transformed into a way to just ignore the sovereignty of other countries and arbitrarily terrorize. And now it's being used to create a completely false pretext for this regime change war, which nobody actually believes that we're going to war with Venezuela over drugs.
Yeah.
Like, all the people who are defending it on the grounds that like regime change will be good for U.S. interest. It's just Trump seems to believe that like this is important,
because further destabilizing a country is not in any and actively empowering narco forces within the country is the perfect formula for not developing a narco state. Got it. Okay, awesome. That's what's
ironic. Just like there are narcos in Venezuela, but they are the forces of counter revolution.
Yeah. I hate the regime.
I hate the regime that are being boosted by the U.S. Like, that's the thing. Like, I feel like I think it was Rudy in the Cosmonaut Discord who said earlier that like when the U.S. accuses you of being a drug dealer, that just means that like you're not using the official like routes that the CIA has.
CIA.
You're not using the official subcontractor cartels.
Yeah, exactly.
The CIA cartels.
Yeah,
it's just I'm just so tired.
Bro,
I'm just
Americans are driving me fucking nuts with this shit.
Yeah, they're driving me. Like the imperialist mentality has just infected their soul. Combined with the settler colonial, just like vigilante conception of justice, it's just right now, it's just like blending in this toxic stew, fascistic stew. And I don't know.
It's like the war on terror and the war on drugs combined into one.
Yeah. No, yeah.
They got together, made a very ugly baby.
Yeah, and I actually like, you know, Carlos, I think your mentioning of entertainment is actually important, because think about the amount of entertainment that has just normalized extrajudicial killing and extra moral means to get what people want. I mean, think of like 24. You know, that show. It's like,
that show is the show of like the war on terror.
Like, I have Ahmed in the chair. Let me just like, cut his pinky off. You know, like let me just cut his nose off or whatever, and just get the info I want. It's like, how is this? And people don't understand this, but like, yeah, entertainment, that kind of shit is powerful. It really is powerful.
I mean, I was very deliberate when I said Narcos, because that is a show that at least a lot of people recently will like they have seen that show, and that
Yeah.
goes a long way in shaping people's attitudes about Latin America.
And that's the only social commentary they've had on the war on drugs, if you think about it. That's the only kind of like exposition they've ever seen of the war on drugs, is this fictional account by some Neanderthal pig.
It's like shit like that, and like Sicarios, that movie Sicario.
Yeah, although that one is a bit more critical because it shows.
I've never actually seen it, so
it's a bit more.
I'll be honest.
That one is a bit more critical. It's the movie by Denis Villeneuve, because the premise is basically that the U.S. military elects who the narcos are to control them, but it doesn't really like get rid of them or anything. But it's a bit more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the war on. Yeah, it's just, where do you even just save us, please?
I think this is true. Wait, Sicario is kind of a counterexample, but I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, Sicario. Unfortunately, as much of a counterexample as Sicario is, it also kind of does valorize or make the sort of extrajudicial cops, and they kind of makes them noble. And you know what? No, not really. It is a bit more morally ambiguous. But if you're a fucking idiot or a hog, and you see like this like cop being like, I don't care about the rules, I just want to kill these narcos, then you'd be like, yeah, that's awesome. It'll just reconfirm or reaffirm shitty ideas, is kind of what I'm saying, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, we know most Americans don't have any media literacy. I think they're watching movies like that and they're like, yeah,
hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, America.
Hell yeah, brother. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, guys. Let's yeah, I don't know what to do anymore.
I mean, maybe we should kind of pivot towards the immigration question, but I will say that like invading Venezuela is not going to help with the immigration crisis.
No, it's
the
really
quote unquote immigration crisis, because it's just going to cause more.
Yeah, exactly.
More, refugees.
Yeah, it's going to create a massive.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a debate on the left recently on.
So there's been a debate in our society at large, and the debate in the left is also cyclical. I think like every few years, like this debate pops up in the left about mass immigration, and
yeah, I agree with
South American politicians are already riding a wave of anti-migrant sentiment against Venezuela, and so plunging the country into war would further tilt the region to the right.
It would.
I agree.
This is an interesting question. What do you guys think about the role of money laundering / drug profits for fire industry profitability?
Dude, I have a whole thing on that.
Well, the thing is it's like it's black market activity, so we don't really know to what extent.
Yeah,
I guess people can estimate. People have made estimates about it, and
well, I'll tell you one thing: the cartels aren't stuffing their cash in mattresses. They're being they're putting it in the banking system somehow.
Yeah,
it's going through the banking system somehow.
Yeah.
This is interesting. The episode of Turbulence podcast about the Palestine-Mexico border was very clarifying on the merging of drug war and counterterrorism narratives being laundered for popular media. Yeah, no, I think the media aspect of this is really important.
Well, listen, I mean, it's no hot take to say that media is a powerful ideological mechanism for legitimating the state narrative. And as I kind of alluded to, I think that those two narratives are being kind of glued together by a more general conception of justice that pops up or is shared by many Americans, which is like this settler colonial vigilante conception of justice, which is I'm on the frontier, anything goes, and I have to enforce my own justice, and it's primarily through violent means against the savages.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the meta narrative subtending those two, right?
It's the cowboy faction of the American class.
Yeah,
we could kind of say that they're more prone to kind of using extra legal methods to get what they want, as opposed to the more kind of bureaucratic, managerial, like kind of old money East Coast elite, the Yankees, I guess, is what they call them.
Yeah, but at this point, everyone is a cowboy.
Yeah, I think that is kind of the truth. Yeah.
It's just.
But yeah, so the issue of mass immigration, I think, is obviously related to the issue of Venezuela, and there's actually some pretty crazy stuff that Trump was saying on Truth Social. Let me bring up this one post that he made. It's just
oh my god,
Hamas.
That was funny.
Hamas has the drugs.
Hamas, but Spanish.
Hamas. Hamas is running drugs through the border. Support Israel.
Oh, fuck.
Yo,
Hold on, let me find this real quick.
Real quick to like what Jimmy Tyson said. One of these days I want to write an article. I might even write it for Cosmonaut about something I call the fraud theory of financial markets, and how fraud is actually way more important to financial markets than you're led to believe.
I mean, that seems like not a hot take in our world.
Yeah, but like that's never sort of theoretically like considered.
Yeah,
like it's considered as an abnormality or externality of the financial system, where I would argue it's actually central.
Wait, that dumbass claimed that? Yo, TS, can you send us a link to that? That is absolutely just she's fried, bro.
Machado claiming Hamas operatives are active in Venezuela is fucking crazy. Yeah, no, I think they said Hezbollah operatives are also active. I think I saw something about that.
That is so fried. Like, they're just lying and they know it.
Yeah, no, it's absolute lies. Anybody who actually supports this war is justifying, in actual serious company, they're justifying it by saying that we need Maduro's oil. And Rubio was really excited about the possibility of Venezuela falling because Cuba falling, and as well as Nicaragua. And there's also the fact of reducing China's influence in Latin America. So there's real geopolitical reasons for this. Because listen, like the MAGA people are, they are rightfully upset about the fentanyl issue, and a lot of people have suffered opioids in this country, and so the MAGA people, they use that to
So bomb Pfizer.
Yeah, exactly. Bomb Pfizer.
Fucking Pfizer. Where do you think the fentanyl's coming from? It's not illegally. Yeah. It's fucking pharmaceutical companies.
But they use the whole the grievances around drugs and fentanyl.
Who got people addicted in the first place? You think
the Sacklers?
Maduro came over with the fucking syringe and stuck everyone in the Midwest? God damn it.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. But they're using the grievances around drugs in order to use the war on drugs to justify a war on immigration and a war to increase immigration.
Yeah, Cuba is in rough shape economically. It's in really rough shape.
It is, but they're holding on.
I mean, not knocking off Venezuela could actually tip them over.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it will. Like, it also the destabilization caused within Venezuela. It's not always clear what will happen. I mean, like, look at Libya. When Libya collapsed, it sent off a wave of destabilization that destroyed the Sahel.
Yeah.
Like, Mali has not recovered from that destabilization. So who knows what kind of dynamics it will set off in the wider region.
You can't contain the blowback.
No,
it's gonna, especially in a country in that region where there's all sorts of paramilitaries, and narco organizations.
I mean, it could empower narcos to like just straight up take over governments. It could set off all kinds of civil wars across borders. I mean, just the fact that there's the Amazon will make it just militarily just a disaster and drawn out. And it's just
what a fucking mess, man.
So this is kind of crazy. I found this one thing that Trump,
an agent of chaos. That's all America is at this point. The sooner it's knocked off the pedestal of world hegemony, the better for humanity.
Be careful what you wish for. That might just...
That's not false.
Yeah,
it might lash out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm almost certain they will.
So he made this post yesterday on social. This is different than the one I had in mind, but it's kind of...
Is he going to say something stupid and funny about something horrendous?
No, it's actually kind of weird. He says Immigration and Nationality Act section. So this is
Americans will read that and be like, yeah, that's reasonable.
Whenever the president finds that the entry of any aliens or of any class of aliens into the United States would be detrimental to the interests of the United States, he may by proclamation and for such period as he shall deem necessary, suspend the entry of all aliens or any class of aliens as immigrants or non-immigrants, or impose on the entry of aliens any restrictions he may deem to be appropriate.
So the president can discriminate against whole groups because he feels like it. That's basically what the law is.
Right.
That's so great. Okay.
Thanks.
So we have authoritarian vibes laws now. Great. Okay. Totally normal. What a big fucking piece of shit baby.
And this was in response to the because there was a shooting in DC today, or not today, but this week, where two National Guards people were shot by someone who was basically an Afghan collaborator with the U.S. occupation. They were brought over when Biden exited Afghanistan. Hold on. For collaborating with the U.S. They were like one of the people that Biden brought over as like a thank you for helping us out.
Yeah. I mean, I've read various things that they were hired by the CIA at 15.
Really?
Yeah, and that they were part of basically a death squad that worked and operated out of Kandahar Air Base, which, if anyone knows, was a site of just torture and execution. And just a horror show.
Yeah, that's fishy.
It is really fishy. Like Hassan was like, oh, was this shooting a CIA op? Like,
dude, good for you, Hassan. Way to get weird with it.
Do it. I mean, bro. To be honest, like some guy who was trained by a CIA death squad at 15 does a shooting in DC. That's very much like in the interest of the government. Like,
right.
It does.
Like, very convenient.
I want him to go full.
Very convenient timing.
I want him to go full gray zone.
Yeah, it does kind of invite going full gray zone. You got to admit, but
it kind of does, man.
Dude. Yeah, it is.
Really but can you really blame him? Like the things always line up so conveniently.
Yeah,
like it happens exactly when he needed it to.
Yeah, no, it is really convenient. It is really fucking weird.
We live in just an awful.
We live in a Pynchon novel. I don't know how many times we have to say this.
Okay, so this is what Trump posted in response to that whole thing happening. So he goes on this rant about immigration. It says, even as we have progressed technologically, immigration policy has eroded those gains and living conditions for many. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover. Terminate all the millions of Biden illegal admissions, including all those signed by Sleepy Joe Biden's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country, and all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country, denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility, and deport any foreign national who is a public danger, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization. Just, what the fuck, man? These goals will be pursued with the aim of achieving a major reduction in illegal and disruptive populations.
Just this fucking culturalist bore using the term Western civilization is hilarious to me.
Yeah. Like, including those admitted through an unauthorized and illegal auto pen approval process. Only reverse migration can cure this situation. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving to all, except for those who hate, steal, murder, and destroy everything that America stands for. I said murder instead of America. We'll be here for long. So, what the fuck, man?
Is there an official list of third world countries somewhere that we can look at? Because what the fuck does that mean? And reverse migration is a fast shibboleth.
Yeah, that is actually one of the more disturbing euphemisms I've ever heard for ethnic cleansing.
Yeah, no, it is basically, he's basically arguing for ethnic cleansing.
No, it's ethnic.
And then it gets worse. It gets worse because then the DHS.gov.
Yeah.
DHS.gov, the Homeland Security Twitter page, posts this today, or not today, a couple days ago. Remigration. The stakes have never been higher. The goal has never been more clear. Remigration now, which is a European far-right thing.
Yeah, that's an AFD slogan, like directly.
Yeah. That is European far right, like Nazi shit. Like, they're young. Now our government is using remigration as a slogan, which is basically saying, like, well, we can't stop mass immigration. It's too late. The third world has already come over here. So now what we have to do is kick out the third worlders who come here. And so basically, it's ethnic cleansing. You know, there's no other way of putting it, because, you know, they're saying migration has made our countries less white. And so now we need to reverse that through removal of immigrants. And, you know, and Trump has made it very clear in that post that even people who have come here illegally are liable to be removed, in his vision. How much he actually pursues this, how effective he is at pursuing this. No, but it's very clearly racial. Very clearly has racial categories in mind when he talks about this. He's third world immigration, Western civilization. So yeah, he's clearly, and we talked last episode, we talked about how they're going after Somalians. How, like, you know, that Chris Rufo guy has kind of pushed him to go after Somalians. So I don't know. Very serious stuff right here. Right?
Yeah, really bad. Really bad.
And judging from those polls you showed earlier, I don't trust Americans to do the right thing here.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, because part of how the consent around this is manufactured is the idea that, like, there's gangs bringing in fentanyl or whatever over the U.S. border. Like, that was like one of the big things that, like, I would talk to people and, like, you know, and they were talking about immigration. Like, well, you know, I don't really have a problem with immigrants, but, like, there's just all these drugs coming in through the U.S. border, and there's nothing being done about it, and it's killing all these people. So, you know, it's clear that, you know, the war on drugs has kind of broken people's brains.
It really
to actually understand what's going on. And you know, I had a big fight with another leftist this week about mass immigration. I don't like the term mass immigration, because it's like that itself is kind of like a far right dog whistle, right? Like,
yeah, that guy. He's not. Yeah, he's gonna catch a stray in this talk for sure. He's a joke.
I don't think it's a stray. It's meant for him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah,
we're writing his name on the bullet.
Yeah, you're talking.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, yeah, I'm obviously talking about that one dime guy. He's a YouTuber, and you know, we've collaborated before in the past, and you know, we had a really big fight this week about the issue of mass immigration, and yeah, he got way more mad at me than I got at him, but you know, I think
you know, it's I think it's important to start off on a more general footing of kind of trying to situate the phenomenon of migration in capitalism, and then getting a bit more concrete and talking about how imperialism and global inequality fosters
Oh yeah,
migration,
absolutely.
right? Or produces it, causes it. And I think maybe what One Dime is trying to do is, I think that the liberal take on migration is this kind of moralistic take that migration equals good, right?
Yeah, because you have more food or whatever. There's more different types of food.
Yeah, exactly.
You,
Whereas the reality of, in a perfect world under communism, people would be able to move because they freely elect to move, right?
right.
But that is not what's happening. People are compelled to move.
Yes, that is what you have to start from, is the
Yeah.
reality of that fact.
And
That,
so, of course, it's not easy for people to move. A lot of people don't want to leave. They want to stay in their homeland. They're proud of where they're from, or they like where they're from. They love their family, and they don't want to move, right?
yeah.
And so, like, I think that what One Dime is trying to do is kind of take a contrarian stance against this kind of moralistic, paternalistic sort of liberal take on migration, right? But for us, as we understand it, is that imperialism, capitalism, and global inequality compel people to move naturally, and then sometimes their countries are just outright destabilized, invaded, and destroyed by imperial powers, and they are once again forced to move. And but for us, we don't want to be the vast majority are proletarians. When they enter and they're organized, they form members of our ranks. They strengthen us, right? And to deny the reality that they're compelled to come here and that they will come here, and then to betray proletarians is to commit a double fault in a way, right? It's to turn away people from our ranks. Or they need to be better organized. They need to be organized. They can form some of the most militant sections of the working class in this country. They can fight for a better life for all people in this country, for the right people in this country. So I don't know. I always found it very weird that the left would ever want to punish or turn against proletarians,
Well, let's be clear. It's not the whole left. It's certain sections of the left who have sort of bought into nationalist like ideology, essentially.
Well, because they say, oh, they're suppressing wages, they're undercutting
right
American workers, whereas like the natural thing to say is, if that were the case, which economically it's not transparently clear always, but if it were the case, wouldn't the better thing to do be to try to organize those proletarians in order to strengthen the position of all proletarians in the country? And then secondly, capital needs that quote unquote criminalized section of labor. It needs people that are precarious or in that situation because they are super exploitable in the context of the US. Once again, there's a reason why undocumented people are hired in certain positions, because they cannot organize. They are kept in a position of illegality, right? They can't organize. They can be super exploited. So, I never understood this kind of weird red-brown fucking take.
Stated another way, like the standard of living of the average American is directly dependent on super exploited migrant labor. Like the fact that they have been rounding up, migrants in ICE raids has directly led to an increase in grocery prices because there's no labor to pick or harvest.
Yeah, which is like the opposite of their fucking the whole bullshit, like they're taking jobs and housing, and so that's why everything is expensive. It's like yeah. No. I mean, it's as everyone here is reaffirming.
Oh, we got an ACP guy in the chat.
Man, just leave us alone. Actually, no, watch our show. It's fine.
Yeah, you can.
I don't care.
I pray for
whatever it is that you're talking about.
Tweet.
I pray for your immortal soul.
Oh my God, get a fucking life.
Magus puts it really clearly. I think it's worth putting up there. I think it's worth putting up their statement. Donald?
Hold on, whose statement?
I mean, we're talking about like real
Antonius.
shit, and you want to talk about this fucking
homie
nonsense.
Antonius. Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
Man. It's a tragedy that people are forced to leave their homelands because of material.
Oh, that one. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's very well put. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's once again imperialism and capitalism, global inequality, compelling people to leave, if not just the outright destruction of their countries. We were like we had an episode where we talked about MS-13. This was a while back, and the dynamic of MS-13, which is the U.S. supporting civil war in El Salvador, which sends people sponsoring and supporting right-wing death squads, which sends people to the U.S. Those people settle in the U.S. They're ghettoized. They have a difficult time finding an official position within American society. Some of them form very small minority form MS-13 LA to defend against existing gangs there. And they end up getting enough power where they can go back to El Salvador and partially run the country. It's just kind of like, you can't make this shit up, right? Like the U.S. fucking finances, supports a civil war that sends people to the U.S. These people get completely ghettoized and locked into a certain position. They respond in a way in which they're trying to at first just defend themselves from rival gangs in their area. And then they come back to El Salvador to run the country. Just like, you can't make this shit up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't make it up.
It kind of reminds me of the Russian mob in a way. It's obviously a different story in a lot of ways, but it's a similar type of dynamic.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's America's Frankenstein monster.
Yeah.
It's another monster that America produced. And then it looks at El Salvador and says, it's your problem. My God.
But yeah, I think the way you put it was very good at just kind of laying the ground for what the basics of the left stance on immigration is. So let me put up the actual take from One Dime that kind of inspired me to dunk on him.
Hell yeah. No cap.
We had been arguing about stuff before, but this was kind of
y'all have been getting into it, huh?
Well, we were arguing about Venezuela before, but now we're arguing about immigration. But, so this is basic claim, and listen, I'm not trying to hate on this guy. Okay, so don't
this is crazy.
Call him names and stuff. It says mass immigration cripples the working class by dividing them, weakening their bargaining power, and increasing the cost of living. Until the left acknowledges this and returns to classical pro-labor principles instead of liberal globalist ideology, they will continue to lose to the far right. I am ready to be called a fascist by out-of-touch PMC leftists for having a standard pro-labor position that much of the old left had.
What old left?
And
fucking Victor Berger? What old left, man?
I know, first of all, it's not true that old left was anti-immigrant.
It's not true at all.
Like, if you actually read Karl Kautsky, for example, in his book The Road to Power, he talks about immigration, and he talks about how capitalists they do import immigrants for cheap labor. That is a fact, but the solution is not to embrace xenophobia, but to embrace the solidarity of labor and to organize the working class, to organize on economic rather than ethnic principles. Because the reality is that if you're a worker who wants to improve your conditions, there are different strategies you can take. And you can take the anti-immigrant road of improving your conditions, which is basically saying that we need to the problem is that our sector of the labor force, we have too many people to compete with. There's too many people being imported into the labor force. That is raising the supply of labor, and we need to reduce the supply of labor to increase the demand so that we have better wages. That's basically like kind of the logic of anti-immigration, right? Is that we can kind of do like supply and demand and try to alter the supply of the labor market, and through that we'll like side with like certain factions of the capitalist class who have like an interest in national protectionism and limiting immigration, and that will be our strategy for improving the position of the working class. You can take that strategy, or you can take the strategy of industrial unionism, of the solidarity, of the broadest solidarity of the working class, and instead directly fight for higher wages, directly fight for regulating the labor market in the interest of labor, directly fight for the political economy of the working class, directly fight for social provisioning of housing, directly fight for working class demands that are in the interest of the working class, rather than doing this like totally roundabout strategy of like trying to improve the position of labor by trying to indirectly affect labor markets through anti-immigration policies. That right there, like that to me is like a kind of non-moralistic, purely strategic argument for why like anti-immigration is stupid. Like if you're suffering from low wages, if you're suffering from like labor market, a shitty labor market, there's other ways you can directly organize to address those conditions. And the more bargaining power you have as a bargaining unit, the more strength you have, which means that you want immigrant workers to be part of your bargaining unit.
Yeah,
it makes more sense.
You don't want them
to use as scabs against you.
And as a historical,
might make.
And as a historical point of fact, like Kilgore brings up something that I was also going to mention, which is that in the U.S., who do you think fucking built the labor movement? Like, who do you think brought the ideology of socialism to America? It was like German immigrants. It was immigrants. Like, so
yeah.
So it's not as if what we're saying is like it's not as if what we're saying is some like kind of like improbable, just statement of possibility. What we're saying is confirmed historically. Immigrants have outsized roles to play in the labor movement and in the U.S.
Absolutely. I mean, but I think in this particular historical context, it's the racialization of the term immigrant or the concept of immigration that has really been cutting against the solidarity principle. Like
this is actually crap. Why not use the community as a professional managerial immigrant / refugees as an army to spread the democratically elected revolution? I think you're being sarcastic, but like unironically, like yes, we will do that, and we will recruit from the petit bourgeois immigrant socialists, and we'll turn them into cadres, and they will go recruit the working class and turn them into an army of democratic revolution.
Yeah, you're talking to a petit bourgeois, okay? Don't be hating on the petit bourgeois.
Yeah. The petit bourgeois intelligentsia, not all of them are bad, okay? Some of them can be won over.
I'm trying my best.
Yeah, it is class collaboration. It's begging from scraps on high, okay? Like, that's what this shit is, And one dime, he doesn't describe himself as a Marxist. He's more of like his own thing, I guess. So this doesn't really.
He's more of a Lasallian in this instance.
Yeah. So, but there's also the idea that immigration just like quite simply like as such reduces like wages, reduces standards of living. I don't think that's actually true.
Yeah, show me the evidence for that.
Good point.
Yeah, there's no real evidence for that. Like. It's acting like immigrants don't contribute to the economy.
It's a truism, basically. It's just something that people believe to be true.
It's something people believe to be true, but like I don't think it's actually true.
Yeah.
Like you can make cases where immigration is not always in labor's interest, but does that mean that it's in labor's interest to embrace anti-immigration?
Yeah, I mean, it's also like under what conditions, right?
Yeah.
If the working class stays divided, unorganized, and one section of it is kept in a constant state of super exploitation and basically criminality just by existing, then it's going to be pretty easy to use one section of the working class to quote unquote undercut the other, right? But that's the thing. It's all of those conditions that produce that. It's not the migration by itself. Take the instance where the working class is better organized, united, and where one section is not kept in a permanent state of super exploitation. Well, then things would be different, right? And so the onus is on filling our ranks and making sure that a section of the working class cannot be kept in the shadows like that, because it's in no one's interest except for the ruling class. I mean,
how long do you think it's just somewhat related to this? How long do you think it's going to take for Eric Blanc to start arguing that we should oppose immigration?
He's going to get to it. He's already
he's already well on his way.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Victor Berger spiel, he's on his way. He's going to be, pretty soon it's going to be the anti-woke thing, and then we'll see. But I predict that it'll take him a year.
I think it's coming.
Yeah.
It would be non-racist immigration control.
Of course.
Non-racist.
Pages, but not racist.
Yeah. Racial quotas, but not racist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think another thing that I want to say about this issue of mass immigration is that, this is, I feel like, there was a point where, people were saying, oh, there's an economic grievance and that it's just being expressed in, racial terms. And, not everyone who's, complaining about immigration is doing it for, racial reasons. There's really, an economic reason behind it. But, well, there's a sense in which everything is economics, obviously, as Marxists, all social phenomena are kind of economic in the last instance, obviously. But the way that people say this is that it's not racial in a way, that it's really kind of just the racial aspect is just masking the true economic nature of the grievance.
Even
I think
if that
MAGA and all of this shit the past few years has basically revealed that actually no, it is about race.
No, of course, but even if that were true, you'd still be wrong. You'd still be having the wrong picture of reality.
Right.
Ultimately. So what difference does it make what the reason?
Well, yeah, obviously they're wrong, but the point is that there's no reason to tail these arguments.
Well, I shouldn't say that, because it does matter what the reason is, because obviously if the reason is on a racialized, racist basis, then no, that's not good in any sense. But even if you held it for quote unquote economic reasons, you'd still be fundamentally wrong.
Yeah. But even if we accept that, I feel the reality is that these people are primarily they're not concerned about immigration because they are necessarily linking it to their wages going down. They're concerned because they don't want to see a mosque being built in their neighborhood. Let's be real. It's
definitely a race thing. It's
definitely a race thing.
The right has learned over quite some time that they shouldn't say things like that out loud, so they use other ways of saying that.
Yeah, which isn't to say that economic issues don't make racism worse. When people are in economically vulnerable situations, and when capitalism is, not giving, providing people their material needs and is increasing intersectoral competition among the working class and grinding everyone down, racism does get worse. So I think there is a connection there, but. Reality is, if you look at the MAGA immigration policies, that shit we were just looking at from Trump, it's all about making America as white as possible. And so the idea that the left can make concessions to this, and that we'll be able to kind of just tamper it down and kill it in the bud, and if we just make a few mild anti-immigrant concessions, and then we'll be able to just win all these workers over, and no longer have to deal with this right populist thread. That's just complete bullshit.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
This is part of the impulse of the modern left to seek shortcuts to power. Essentially, they think that, well, if we just ape the right on anti-immigration, then we'll cut through the difficulty of power or whatever. It's the same calculation that sections of the German left have made, and has not been working. like clearly. So there's no shortcut to power. Like you can't just ape the rhetoric of the right and expect workers to flock to you. That's not how it works. They're just gonna go to the real thing.
Yeah. And I will say the mass movement of populations and mass immigration is part of globalized modern society, part of globalized capitalism.
It's part of it's always been part of society.
Yeah.
You have always had migration.
It's more than ever right now, but that's just because of the rate of technological and change and the rate of mercantile expansion, et cetera, et cetera. Point is the world is becoming more and more multicultural, more and more diverse. And the only way you're going to reverse this trend is through regression to the most violent and brutal and nasty types of ethno-nationalism that we do not want to see. So the world is going to have to learn to have to be more multicultural. That's just the reality of the situation. They're going to have some people will have to be dragged kicking and screaming into it, but it's just a simple fact of the matter. The world is going to have to learn to be more multicultural because that's just how the world is going. And I will say this, that I do think that the neoliberal market model has not really done a good job at managing this multiculturalism to the benefit of everyone. But that doesn't mean that socialism can't do it in a better way and that we can't do better, and that this multiculturalism and that the diversity of the world and the intercultural exchange as being promoted isn't ultimately a positive. It is a positive. It's just that capitalism is a problem.
Yeah, we also, not everything also is about kind of bread and butter issues, right? We affirm the diversity of the human race is a good thing, right? It is a good thing. We, as socialists, inherit the best of the universalist and emancipatory aspects of the Enlightenment. We wish to further it, right? And the diversity of the human race is a good thing, right? I mean, it's a good thing that maybe one day we will have kind of a real human culture that is shared between us all.
Human culture, yeah. And so that's kind of where I'm going there with this. Is instead of this kind of embracing any kind of anti-immigration stuff or any kind of nativism, the left needs to figure out how to build a multicultural society and how to actually integrate these different groups and create a pluralism that can create communication and cooperation between all these different groups through class solidarity, through class politics, and through a socialist project. And the path of nativism, any kind of concession nativism is it's not going to work.
It's self-defeating.
It's absolutely self-defeating for that project. So yeah, no, I think that's got to get going soon.
Yeah, that's a good place to start wrapping things up. I think we had a good episode. It was, I appreciate our very active chat.
Oh yeah.
You guys are
awesome.
Guys
have really improved the stream, and you guys always have great things to say. When I see other streams, their chat is filled with just nonsense, but you guys dumb shit.
Hassan's chat is one of the worst, most cancerous things
it's
I've ever
a pit of despair. So y'all be making this very interesting.
You guys got real thoughts.
Yeah, smart people.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
So we thank you. Check out, Cosmonaut Magazine. Think about contributing to our Patreon. We do this for free, but it's not free to run Cosmonaut. There are costs. Check out Cosmonaut Magazine. We also have a podcast. Keep tuning in. Tell your friends. And if you want, buy some merch. I don't know if you guys celebrate whatever. It's the holidays.
It is the holidays. This is a good gift idea.
Maybe you need to get gifts or whatever for the holidays for your family. So think about getting some Cosmonaut merch. We got a nice mug. I broke mine.
Shirts look really fucking good.
Yeah, they look pretty good, man. I have another. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate you all.
And sorry about the internet issues earlier. Hopefully that can get fixed soon. Here.
Yeah, we'll migrate Donald from Florida.
Yeah, we'll do some immigration here.
Let's be remigrate him.
Yeah,
remigration. Remigration now.
Okay, y'all.
All right, y'all.